What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's Scythe, it's Antignarot, back again for the Q&A Answers Edition. Now, last week I put out a Q&A asking all of you to give me some cool questions, and you know what? You did. Thanks so much, everybody, for tuning in and being like a part of this with me and everything. It's really, really cool. Now, let's get to some of the answers. First up is DMC Dragon Moon Cheese asks, what is written on your fingers? Bloop! I don't think it's gonna show up in the camera because it's all reversed and stuff. I'll just reverse it right now. Blah! See? It says love. L-O-V-E. Bloop! And now we're back to the mirrored version. I don't have any tattoos other than the eyeliner right here. You see that? You see that? That's a tattoo. Most painful tattoo I've ever gotten. I plan to get a crap ton more, but that'll come in the future. Next question we have is Z-Yab, or Y-A-B. If you were to get a handheld, what would it be? Follow-up question. Why have you never owned a handheld? First of all, I'm not gonna bother with a handheld, mainly because at this point in time, my computer's strong enough that I could handle a DS emulator and stuff like that. Otherwise, I would probably have gotten a DS, but personally, I never really got into the whole handheld thing. The last handheld that we owned was the Game Boy Advance. I think that's what it was. I don't know. But we got it for Crystal Chronicles on the GameCube and Four Swords and stuff like that because you needed to have it connected to the GameCube. And, well, that's it. Yeah, not really gonna bother with any handhelds because we just never really got into it, you know? Y2 Yarlith asks, what are your favorite games of all time? Mine are Persona 4, Metal Gear Solid 2, and Silent Hill 2. Cool. Also, would you ever consider playing any of those? I would love you to play Persona 2, but it would probably take a year for you to finish it. I don't even know what Persona 2 is, so I'm going to have to look that up. But otherwise, I will definitely add all of them to the list, which means that we'll eventually get to it. But at the same time, I mean, I've got such a huge list that some of them might just not come to pass. Maybe we'll do like a special episode of it in the future sometime. It's always good that people are giving me suggestions because I always try to consider like, okay, enough people have asked for this as a series, so that means I should go for it. Or if someone asked for this one, all right, I'll try, you know, and stuff like that. As for my favorite games, Turok 2 is one of them, of course. Dragon's Dogma on the 360 is another fantastic game that I think everybody should check out. The Elder Scrolls Morrowind, that was a very big one for me, especially for a single-player RPG and stuff like that. What are other ones, Johnny? Rune Viking Warlord, because I always called it Viking Warrior. I don't know why. I never really like read the whole title, but that's another one game that's like one of my favorites of all time, even though I never really did a replay of that series. I'm planning to kind of replay it with Boiling Action eventually. Grand Theft Auto, I've been a fan since way back, even with the old top-down view ones. I always hated, like, there was the guys in the green suits in Grand Theft Auto 2 always tried to jack your ride, and the red ones jacked your wallet or something. There was guys in red shirts and green shirts, and you had to watch out for them. I remember always running over the guys in the green shirts. Space Station Silicon Valley was another one that I really enjoyed, and of course it makes sense because it was actually the first game that the developer or designer or whatever it was, the guy who made Grand Theft Auto made Space Station Silicon Valley as pretty much his first game. Actually, I don't know about that. Zelda is always a fantastic game. As far as Nintendo games go, like I like Mario Sunshine. I don't know if I call it my favorite. Mario 64, and now that it's got Mario 64 co-op, is definitely one of my favorites, but man alive, we've played that enough. Half-Life 2, I never really got into Half-Life 1. I did enjoy it for the time, but I never really got into it. Speed Demo Archives, go to that site and watch speedruns of Half-Life 1 though. They're just, like, they're one of the most entertaining speedruns to ever watch. But Half-Life 2 was just, I remember replaying through that game over and over and over again. And it was the first game that I actually did that for quite some time. And then on top of that, Dark Messiah of Might and Magic, made with the Havoc engine. Although it had some slow points, and I wouldn't say it's like the best game ever, I still really did enjoy it. Another one that I really do enjoy is my current series, Metro 2033. And Metro Last Light. I actually love both of those games. I've been a fan since I stumbled across them, so it's a real treat to be replaying them in HD. Gothic 2, although I can say now that I'm probably never going to replay Gothic 2 again, I gotta say that once things ended up getting going, once I ended up figuring out how does this game play and stuff like that, that's another game that is definitely one of my favorites. Risen 3, even though it just came out, I have been absolutely having a fantastic time with that series, so I would definitely say that it's also one of my favorites. Oh, and Splinter Cell 1 and 2. That's really all that comes to mind right now, although I'm sure after this video comes out, I'll think of one and be like, hey, that's another game that I like. Next question is by my good friend Sanguine Mr. Saberine. What do you like to do in your spare time? Well, honestly, I guess I'm a little bit of a workaholic because most of the time when I'm not recording, I'm researching games, getting like video policies from companies, dealing with YouTube because man alive, they are like horrible to deal with their messages back and forth, and they act like I have all... Bleh. Recently I was working on all the new title cards and stuff like that, but if you're asking for stuff that I do outside, I like walking, exercising, video games, relaxing, because relaxing is a very important part of being able to do your work efficiently, productively, have a good attitude about it, because you're not going to, you know, I made the mistake early on when I first started on YouTube about like just pushing myself, and I don't know if other people noticed, but I could notice like with certain series and stuff like that, I would get a lot more frustrated than I used to. Now I've started to really kind of ease into it and really enjoy what I do, and overall, like, it's like you gotta treat relaxing and R&R and just watching movies, going out, doing whatever, you know, you gotta treat it all right. Romeo Bliss, wink. When did you first get paid from YouTube and how much? Honestly, dude, I have no freaking clue. The way that YouTube works is they only ever pay you once you've made your first $100. I remember checking on my AdSense account and it was like, hey, you've made 10 bucks here. Hey, now you're at 20. Hey, next month has come in. Now you're at 50. And then eventually it got to $100 and I got my first, well, I was going to say paycheck, but I have it direct deposit. Thankfully, I'm making enough that I am getting paid per month, but otherwise that is definitely going down lately with all the YouTube monetization stuff, but that's okay. I mean, for a little while off camera, I was kind of stressing about it because it's very easy to get sucked into the fact that, wow, I'm getting paid for these videos, and then they take it away, and it's like, no, what's wrong with you, you know? I've made peace where it's like, if I get paid, that's awesome. If not, that's okay too, because right now it's all about you guys and girls. Taumino asks, what is your real name? Tyler? I saw this in the Hear the World credits and I wanted to make sure. My old name used to be Tyler, but I have actually legally changed my name to Scythe. Without getting into the deepness of it and stuff like that, I just needed a name that would better represent who I was and who I wanted to be. It's not that I have anything against my old name. It's not that I had to change it to avoid the law or something like that. Redstone Fox has 3 questions. For 3. Slam dunk. What kind of pie do you like? Oh, well, I guess I like blueberry. And who is your favorite video game character? Well, I guess I would have to say Turok? Question. Ninjas, pirates, zombies, or vampires? I don't know what that means. What do you mean you don't know what that means? Choose one. How's about a ninja zombie? Next is Quebec Mogul. My question would be, did you ever play Ecco the Dolphin on Sega Genesis? Yes, I did. It's actually a fantastic game. If not, would you try my challenge to at least play a couple levels? I'll definitely add it to the list, buddy. One thing that I haven't had the time to do lately, but I am planning on doing, which was actually suggested by Superior Fan, I call him Superior. I don't know why, because it looks like it's spelt like scorpion or something. But he actually had a suggestion that rather than the Monday multiplayer madness stuff, that I would also have maybe like a Sunday single player thing where I play like a game, a solo game, but I just do like one episode. So that's potentially gonna happen with the Ecco game. My wife's question would be, Will we ever see your real hair? Yes, you can actually see it in a couple of videos, but otherwise, if you want a description, I look like Xavier. Why? Matthew asks, question, what's your favorite game of all time? I don't know. Honestly, it would probably be Grand Theft Auto 5. I spent so much time on that game actually off camera rather than on, like just messing around and stuff like that. And honestly, I haven't had as much fun as I had on that game for years. Luis Bautista, sorry if I'm saying that wrong. Why are you so awesome, lol? But for my real question to you would be, what is it exactly about Turok 2 that makes it your favorite game, even after how old it is? And what age were you when you got it? Because I remember I was like 6 or 8. How old was I when I got it? I don't even know how old I am now. But seriously, the big reason that I do absolutely love Turok, I mean, the list goes on and on. First and foremost, the reason that I always loved it was it had amazing AI for the time. The graphics were absolutely beautiful. It's one of my favorite styles of graphics. Like, I love that old school graphic, not all this NES crap that indie games are putting out these days. I always like 3D models because they always feel really strong, feels like they're really part of the world, got their feet planted on everything, and it's just so cool, you know? The other thing that I loved about was the gore that was the first game that did gore like that, man. Not to mention the plethora of weapons was just astonishing. Almost every weapon had its own unique death animation for every enemy type, except for those stupid swamp guys with their miniguns. They always just go blah. But overall, I think just personally it played to a lot of my strengths of what I liked and enjoyed in gaming. Not to mention, now I actually like it even more than ever and have a lot of respect for the team that actually made it, because as I started doing the series, a lot of people were very learned about all the stuff behind the scenes. And if you just do a little bit of research yourself, because there is way too much for me to mention, they were the first game that ever did mocap. The fire from the flamethrower was the first procedurally generated fire, or whatever it's called. The AI was the best on the market. The graphics were the best on the market. And overall, everything about it is absolutely awesome. It's got a crazy story. The last boss is just ominous and evil and just badass. The Primogen is one of my favorite villains in games. And what do I say? I just love it. Baron Saturday. What does your PC have in it? Lint. My CPU is an Intel Core i7-4960X. My GPU is NVIDIA GFX 780. 2 of them. RAM is 32 gigabytes, 4 1TB hard drives with RAD 10 for the C drive, and a 4TB hard drive for my D. Jash, the pro of Mario Kart 8, asks, do you ever play Mario Kart outside of streams? Not really, dude. We did go through Mushroom Cup as a full series, but other than that, we just don't really have time for much of anything off camera. We did, however, play it quite a bit when it did first come out, and then we actually decided after playing it to do the series. And speaking of which, we're probably going to start doing Mario Kart 8 streams a lot more regularly. Andy Wolf asks, Streets of Rage for the Sega or Final Fight for the SNES? If you played those games, what series do you like better? Or a particular game from either series? Like, I played many hours of Street of Rage 2. I'm not even sure what Street of Rage is because I've never owned a Sega system. Even as a kid, it was like the rich kids could only afford a Sega system and we were stuck with an SNES, which is a better system anyway, so I guess my vote would have to go for Final Fight. Me and Johnny, Captain Napkin, actually did a Final Fight Monday Multiplayer Midnight Madness montage episode, and it was pretty funny, but it's dated now. Kung2 says, are you going to do Mario Bros. X? And how do you play with controllers? It's highly possible that we will end up going back to Mario Bros. X, but at the moment we're focused on other projects. As for playing with the controller, the game already naturally supports the gamepad, so on the main menu you just want to scroll down to the options and then punch in your controls manually for each button. Yoshi HD asks, are you going to play AdventureCraft? Honestly, I don't even know what AdventureCraft is until you mentioned it, but I did just look it up and it seems really cool because it's pretty much Minecraft RPG Maker. That said, if you have a particular AdventureCraft series that you'd like to see me play, be sure to leave it in the comments section below, and of course I will add it to the list and get to it eventually. Be sure to save your questions for next week because I'll put out another video asking for questions. But don't leave any comments or questions on this video, otherwise they will not be answered. I'm going to only answer them on the question video, which we will put out next week so that this doesn't get too old. If you enjoyed this Q&A video, please let me know with likes and comments. With love from all of us at Team Pixel. If you're a subscriber, you're part of Team Pixel. Wink! Sayonara and stay epic, everybody!